Hi, thanks for everybody for coming today to today's Philly Codefest workshop. Drexel Blockchain student org is here to present their to talk about NFTs and also how to create them and all kinds of exciting stuff. Anka Skarlik and Anna Paul are here. They'll be presenting. So I'll turn things over to them in 1 second. But first, I just want to thank everybody for coming today. Philly Codefest is coming up April 4th to April 9th. If you have not already registered for CodeFest, I'm putting the registration link in the chat below. You can certainly use the information that you're learning today on NFTs and to create a great project during CodeFest. If you have any questions about CodeFest, feel free to reach out directly to me or put in the chat, or also time at the end of today's session to answer some questions. We look forward to hosting all you guys for CodeFest. It'll be virtual April 4th to April 8th, Monday through Friday will be virtual. Saturday will be here at 3675 Market in the Quorum on the second floor for a in-person closing ceremony with speakers and judging and food and sponsor booths and all kinds of fun stuff. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Anka and Anna and take it away. If you have questions about NFTs, feel free to put in the chat. I'll monitor the chat, and there'll be time at the end for Q&A. So guys, take it away.
All right, thanks, Dave. Hi all, I'm Anka. I'm the president of the Drexel Blockchain Club. And here on the call, there's also Anna. He's the treasurer and also one of the best developers that we have in the club. The way today is going to work is I'm going to go over some basic intro into blockchain and NFTs, and then Anna's going to take it with a more technical workshop, as I assume that most of you are going to want to take part in CodeFest and develop a project. So let's get started. This is basically why you should be interested in blockchain, and a quick overview on the blockchain industry. It has the rapid growth, and especially in the years when you're going to graduate, it's going to be booming. And also the blockchain job market, where usually a blockchain developer makes almost double, if not more, than a normal developer. So these are some facts that might interest you with your future career. Now, let's get back to NFTs, non-fungible tokens. A lot of people are just intimidated about what that means, so let's just break it down into words. Token, that's digital asset, nothing complicated there. Fungibility, that's a property that implies that an asset is interchangeable with another of the same type. For example, a dollar bill. If I exchange a dollar bill with you, it has the same value. It doesn't mean that it's different. So now when it comes to non-fungible, that means that it's unique. So something that's handcrafted or a piece of art, you can change it. It doesn't have the same value. That's the same with NFTs. And now NFTs are just smart contracts that live on the blockchain. Pretty much the smart contract allows for code to be embedded into an NFT. It impacts the way they're traded, and it allows you to see previous owners and the value. Types of NFTs, this can be anything: digital artwork, digital collectibles, usually generated by programs, music, video game items, domain names, sport moments, or any other digital item. For example, the founder of Twitter sold his first tweet as an NFT for a few $1 million. So it can be anything. And these are some advantages of NFTs. So for creators, NFTs are just something completely amazing. It's not only a source of revenue, and then you get a monetary cut when an NFT is sold, not only the first time, but every time it's being sold. But you also get the copyrights and the reproduction rights, which means that basically the creator gets to keep the original piece. It just now belongs to someone else. So someone else has ownership over it. For example, in the Twitter example from the slide before, that person who created that tweet still has the tweet on its page. It's just now it belongs to someone else. And also as an artist, you can make an infinite number of copies and then sell them separately and still have it as the original being an NFT. It can also be used for charities. You create collectibles and share awareness of their cost. NFT investors, you can just create as a source of revenue. And for individuals, it's a community status. You get access to members-only groups, access to communicate with the creators, and you own the original digital asset. Now, as blockchains in general, this is like a technology stack. This is what you have to keep in mind when you want to develop an app on the blockchain. There are different levels and different layers. There is the application layer, the service and optional components, the protocol layer, and the network layer. And then if you go more in details into NFTs, these are just some of the most known things that you would encounter. And especially here in the popularity when it comes to the years, something that's going to be booming in the future is the predictions markets, the fractionalizing NFTs, lending, and everything in the second half of the graph. I think I'm going to stop here and we're going to get into the technical workshop, but I will get back to this at the very end just to talk a bit about our club and what you can get if you decide to join us. So now, Anna, if you want to unmute and share your screen, that would be great. And I just want to stress out the fact that you should ask Anna as many questions as you want and just put them in the chat and he's going to go over everything that's not clear.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So wait, I'll just play it. So I'll be talking about, before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Anu Mitru. You guys can call me Anu. I'm a sophomore studying at Drexel. I'm majoring in computer science and mathematics, and I'm very much interested in the crypto space. Like I've been working on the Ethereum blockchain, Ethereum level 2 layer for almost a year, not directly, but working on applications that can support that layer. And so today I'll be talking about decentralized applications, how you can contribute to the Ethereum space, or not just Ethereum, the decentralized space. And I'll be focusing on the types of applications you can work on. First, I'll start with metaverse, like on the decentral land. As you have heard, probably the metaverse is after Facebook pushed forward the metaverse concept. It has gained a lot of traction over the past year and a half, and decentralized is one of the projects that is not centralized, and it's on the blockchain network called Mana, and you can interact with it by going to decentraland.com, and it's basically a GTA 5 kind of a thing, but on a blockchain. So I'll explain how it works in a couple of slides, but before that, I'll be talking about why there's a fundamental shift towards blockchain or decentralized applications. If you look into the internet right now, it's like 60% controlled by AWS, and the rest is controlled by GCP, Google Cloud Platform, or Microsoft Azure. So it's basically all those three companies controlling the entire market, entire internet space that we are using today. So there has been a growing shift towards gaining that control back with the people. So there comes blockchain, where it's more towards the people. It is more geared towards the people and the creators rather than one single entity. So blockchain bridges that trust that these centralized companies lack. So let's look into metaverse. So metaverse, as you have heard, it's a very abstract concept, but over here it's like the open world that we see, but in a digital format. And we'll be since it's an abstract concept, like people can, like there are NFTs and several parts to metaverse, but over here we'll be talking in terms of decentralized applications, so that like how you can contribute to the metaverse, or how you can build your own metaverse, or maybe some applications to it. So this is the screenshot that you're seeing in this slide. It's a screenshot from Decentraland, and over there, since it's an open, it's not necessarily an open source, but you can contribute to Decentraland with your project. Like there are NFT galleries where you can showcase your art by paying in terms of mana, and all that stuff. You can buy your land in Decentraland, and all those fancy stuff. So how can you contribute to Decentraland? There are two kinds of layers. One is the experience layer, which is mostly AR, VR, like Facebook's Oculus, that is very much popular into augmented reality, and that pushed for the augmented reality in our market. AR, then there's VR, virtual reality, which is what you see in Mana right now, which is like through the browser, you can interact with 3D design projects and all that stuff. Like it feels like a real world, like you can walk through it and all that stuff. Now here comes a value layer. We'll be focusing on value layer in this workshop more because I expertise in that layer. And what is a value layer? So in the value layer, it's more sort of decentralized finance, blockchain applications, NFT, and cryptocurrencies. So in the value layer, with decentralized finance, it's like the banking system that we have today. It's kind of similar to that, but implemented on a blockchain. And same with NFTs, like the art pieces that we have today that are displayed in the museums. It is the same kind of thing on the geared towards metaverse, where the world is moving more towards the digital world and all that concept. So how can you contribute to the metaverse on the experience layer? There are two kinds of mostly used libraries. One is Free.js, another is AR.js. Those frameworks are very easy to, like, not that difficult to get our heads wrapped around it, because the documentation is pretty good, and you can go into GitHub and just download and work on 3D projects surrounding Free.js and AR.js. Now coming back to the value layer of the metaverse, which is the blockchain and decentralized finance apps. But before understanding the decentralized finance, like DeFi apps or the decentralized applications, I would like to ask if anyone has any questions up to now, like whatever I talked about.
All right, and there are no dumb questions, so anytime
Okay.
that
So
seems...
I'll just follow up with the rest. Wait a second. So how is a normal decentralized application different from a normal application? Like when you go on a browser, you search up for a website. Let's take example of Drexel website, and what it's basically a HTML and CSS web page that queries into a SQL database and fetches the data for you and gives you the data. Now, how is it different from a blockchain, from a decentralized application? It is not. It is quite similar, very similar. That's why we use a lot of frameworks from our normal centralized web applications into decentralized web applications like React and JavaScript and all that stuff. So this is the frame. This is what goes underneath a decentralized application. Over here, you can see there are small blocks which runs the same code for same code. It's basically a peer-to-peer validated database. You can see something like that. So it's whenever the website or the HTML and CSS page queries to the blockchain for an information, the information gets validated by majority of the blockchain, depending on the protocol. Sometimes it's 50%, sometimes it might be low to lower the transaction fees, but that's what it happens. Like there's a voting process that goes through it, and once the information is validated by majority of the blockchain, the information is resent to the website and you can see it. And now what are smart contracts here? So smart contracts are basically when you make a request on the website, smart contracts you can say it's like the glue in the entire blockchain space. So it stitches all the blocks together into a database kind of thing. So whenever you query for a data, the smart contract gets executed and it returns the data, and your website fetches the data and shows it to you. That's how a decentralized application will work. And now today we'll be building a yield farming app. So what is yield farming? So think about it like a bank. Whenever you have a little bit of surplus money, let's assume I have $1,000 of surplus money, and I go to Chase Bank and deposit that in the savings account. Now I'll get a little bit of interest that to fight against the inflation, because money is cash is a liability and it goes down in value over time. So when you deposit it into the savings account, they give you a little bit of interest to cope up with the inflation so that your money doesn't decay. Same with a yield farming app. Over here, when you deposit a DAI, for example, a stable coin. A stable coin is something which is pegged to the US dollar and it doesn't change in price that much. I'll talk about stable coins when I show you the code later. But for example, let's assume you have a stable coin and you give it to my app for $1,000 worth of stable coins into my app. And I promise you 24% APY for a year. And after a year, when you want your money back, I'll give you not a DAI token or the stable coin, but I'll give you my token, which is a DApp, along with your 24% interest. So underneath the app, there will be basically 3 contracts. One is the DAI token, which is a ERC20 contract, and a DApp token, which is also ERC20 contract, and a token farm. Now, what does the token farm do? The token farm has been coded to give you that 24% APY at the end of 1 year. So it is an immutable, or once it is deployed to the blockchain, you cannot change it. So once the token farm, we will be deploying the token farm into our locally hosted blockchain later, and you will see how it, like, you'll get a proper demonstration of how the yield farming works. Now, going back to the DAI token, the DAI token is a ERC20 token, which is a predictable class of crypto tokens, which is it's not a cryptocurrency, but it's based off Ethereum. It's based off a smart contract on Ethereum. So it's like it's pegged to $1, like that it's pegged to $1. And what else information should be? I think that's pretty much it. Whatever you need to know about DAI, and it's just remember that it's a stable coin. And for dApps, and for DApp is we didn't want to complicate our entire demonstration, so we stuck with a ERC20 token here too. DApp is also a ERC20 token, so we are basically using DAI token and changing the name a bit. But token farm smart contract is something that I'll write that I'll show you how I'll be writing during the workshop. Now, how can we start development in the blockchain space? So you will need in the DeFi space. So you will basically need a little bit of experience with React, a little bit of experience with Java. Once you know React, JavaScript comes along with it, and that's pretty much it. We'll be using Solidity for writing our smart contract. Solidity is a language that is used to interact with the Ethereum network overall, and it's specifically built for Ethereum, for interacting with Ethereum networks. And it's very close to JavaScript, so learning it won't be that difficult. And there is like pretty good documentation around Solidity. Now let's go into how we will be deploying. I'll show you how we are gonna set up the locally hosted blockchain. So over here, wait. Okay, so this is Ganache. It's a locally hosted blockchain, and you can download it from Ganache, from this website. Now, Truffle is another framework that we will be using for deploying our smart contracts into Ganache. You can download it from here, and it's very easy to set up. Like you should be ready to go within 1 minute after downloading it. And once you download it, you will be given 10 accounts with 100 Ethereum each, and 10 blocks with 100 Ethereum each. And these are fake Ethereum, so these are locally hosted, so you won't be able to use it anywhere other than your locally hosted blockchain. And that's the basic setup. And another is I'll be using NPM 12.8.13 that I'll link in our Slack channel. I'll link whatever resources I'll be using during this workshop in our Slack channel, along with the GitHub link for the code. Now let's go into our code. Before I jump into the code, is there any questions anyone has regarding whatever I talked about till now? I guess we're good. So I'll upload all the starter codes and everything on our GitHub. So if you're working on any decentralized finance app for your for your hackathon, you can just download download the starter code and make some make some adjustments according to whatever you're gearing your application towards, and go forward with it. And you can even text me on Slack at our Drexel Blockchain Club channel, and I'll be happy to help you with. And if you are facing any problem with the application, now we'll be needing 3 smart contracts. As I showed you, the smart contracts are, this is the DAI token. So the first line is how you call solidity in your smart contract. It's called pragma, and then there's a exponent sign, and then you mention the version that you will use, and then you start writing your contract. So this is something that I took from the DAI website, and it's an open source contract, open source contract. So you can use it for development purpose anytime. And what we'll be using is basically a mock DAI token. So we won't be using the original DAI. We'll be making our own DAI token and launching it on our Ethereum blockchain that we are deploying using Ganache. So this is something you can readily find. I'll provide the links to. And coming back to DApp token, that will be that the user will get if they stake in our website, in our application. Now our DApp token is also a ERC20 token. The reason we are using ERC20 tokens is it's very predictable how it will like the total supply of the token is very fixed. Like all ERC tokens start with 1 million, not necessarily 1 million tokens, but with a fixed number of tokens. And then like you can predict its price. There's no volatility with its price. It's usually pegged to some fiat currency or the others to avoid the volatility. Same with our DApp token. So we are using a ERC20 token, which has a total supply of 1 million tokens. And we have the transfer functions and approve functions, everything written over here. Now what we'll be doing is we'll be using our token farm. So going back to the presentation, what our token farm does is it takes it takes your DAI token from the application, stores it in the liquidity pool, and then gives it back to you after probably 1 year with the amount of interest rate that we have promised during our application. Now now let's start coding our token farm. Let's start by declaring our contract. It's very as you can see, it's very similar to JavaScript. So we'll be declaring the variables and then mentioning the visibility of the variables, name and goals. And then we have to mention the address too. I'll write the constructor and then explain that later. So for talking about the constructor, it's a very special function that is run only once when the smart contract is deployed to the blockchain. After that, it doesn't really have any use. So for the construct, it's used for migration basically. I'll talk about the migration files later after we complete with the token farm smart contract. So we'll be declaring the variables. It's as simple as writing the variable name, like what the constructor will be mostly using with, like dApp token and then DAI token, and then you'll have to mention the owner, call message, and then use the method sender. That's it, done. Our constructor is done, and now we'll be using the function of stake token. Oh, sorry, I missed the parameters for the constructor. The constructor parameters will be dApp token. We'll be calling the dApp token from the solidity contract that we wrote earlier in the contracts. Now in the dApp token, we are using the name dApp token, like underscore dApp token. So this is the type of the dApp token that we'll be using, and then dApp token, and then we'll be calling DAI token, and then using DAI token. And then we have to mention the visibility of the construct of the coins. So we have to write public here to make it a bit beautiful. And then comes the function of staking. This function will be called whenever the user wants to stake their, like whenever the user is trying to stake at our website, at our application. So the staking function will use the parameters for staking function is the amount. Like we'll need the amount that the person wants to stake, right? So we'll need amount, and then we need to declare its type. So its type will be unit. It's a very you'll find that I'll show the types in the solidity documentation later after writing the contract is over. And then you will require, no, not this require. You'll require a condition, because just to check if the person is like, sometimes people by mistake stake zero coins, and we don't want that to happen. So we'll be having a condition to avoid that happening. Amount has to be greater than 0, and then it pops in a message that amount has to be greater than 0. That's it. And then for staking, what the stake, now we have talked about how the staking will work in our presentation. Now let's codify exactly what I told. Now we have DAI token that we'll call, and then the DAI token has a method called transfer. Transfer from and the transfer from takes two parameters. One is where it is coming from, so the message sender, and then the another is address, where it is going. Now we have the address already declared. Oh, sorry, I think, yeah, we didn't declare the address yet. I'll declare it later. So the address is this, and then how much amount will it transfer. So we already declared the amount earlier. That's it, done. And for staking, we also need to show the staking balance of the user in our application. So for staking balance, plus So that's done for whatever we need for staking. And there's another condition that we have to that takes place after the token has been staked. It's called, like, we can mention the condition like this: if it has been staked, stakers, there's a method in stakers called push, which pushes the coins back to the liquidity pool, which is our main goal. So once the coins has been staked by the user, it gets pushed, and there has been coin in the user's wallet that they want to stake. The coins will be pushed into our liquidity pool, and once it's pushed into the liquidity pool, we'll change the condition. I'll see if I missed anything. That's it. We are done with the staking function. Now this is good enough for us to deploy. This is good enough for us to test our smart contract on our locally hosted blockchain. So let's try. So our token has been deployed in the in our locally hosted blockchain, and let's see how. So as you can see, the balance went down from 100 Ethereum to 99.31 and 99.91. So our tokens has been deployed on these two accounts that you can check using your MetaMask. I'll show it to you. So this is the MetaMask address is your MetaMask wallet is connected to your locally hosted blockchain, and this wait. I'll just start the React app for it. Now, what are we doing with the front end application? So for the front end application, we have built it using React. It is as simple as building your normal application, but there has to be a connection layer between your React application and the blockchain and the blockchain. There comes a web3.js. It's a framework that was started by one of the co-founders of Ethereum, and it makes it very simple to connect your front end of the application to the back end of your application on the blockchain. So once we start, I think it hasn't been started. Terminal. Yeah, so over here you can stake for as like I haven't issued myself 1,000 like any mock DAI tokens or DApp tokens, so I cannot stake right now. I tried issuing myself early before the workshop, but there was some issue with the MetaMask that I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. Sometimes it happens because the documentation of Solidity isn't that great, but feel free to ask me any questions after learning how to write smart contracts or building your app. I'll upload all the entire code on GitHub so that you can go through it later, or ask questions on our Slacks if you feel like. I'll let Anka take over from here.
Do we have any questions for Anna about anything that he showed? Okay. I guess you can always ask us afterwards if you're shy to ask during the workshop right now. I will get back to sharing my screen, but Anna, I think you have to stop yours.
Okay.
So what you saw today basically should provide you a good enough base if you want to try a blockchain project for the hackathon. Anna, I think you're still sharing your screen.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Here we go. All right, so now if you decide that the Drexel Blockchain Club might be of interest to you, here are some membership perks. You learn and you get certifications, you can participate in conferences for free, you build your skills and enter the job market. As I was mentioning earlier, these are very valuable skills that we can help you get before you graduate. And you network and are part of an international community. We provide workshops, tech talks, and a lot of other events. And these are some of our partners. We are partners with Blockchain Education Network. These are the people that sponsored some members of our club to go to New York to a conference last term and also in the past. And I think now with COVID slowing down, we're gonna provide access to more conferences. Also Block Venture Coalition or the Blockchain Acceleration Foundation. And if you are interested, this is an interest form for you. We just want to know what you would want to hear from us, what kind of events you'd be interested in seeing, and also what would be your availability. So if you want to scan the QR code, that would be great. It's a very easy form of getting in touch with us. And the QR code is still here. You can contact us however you want. Instagram, Facebook, email, Discord, Slack. We're here to help you. We have a lot of very talented people that just want to share their knowledge. There are people like Anna, like me, that would love to talk to you and just be part of a community that shares your interest. Do we have any questions?
I have a question.
All right, well, yeah, go ahead.
So this club, you know how like co-op runs like all year? Do you guys run all year and do all your meetings and stuff and events all year?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So there are people that on our e-board, there are people that are on co-op right now and people that are gonna go on co-op next term. So we're trying to alternate.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, and with that, Dave, I think we're done.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. This was really informative. I want to thank Anka and Anno again. Today was really great. If you have any questions for blockchain, feel free to reach out to Anu or Anka. If you have any questions about Codefest or about things in general, about events, feel free to reach out to me. My name is Dave Rakin. My email is dr366. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thanks, everyone.